Yo, what's going on, guys? Winter Kills here. Welcome to a brand new video, a new episode of Saturday Night Locals, episode 86, I believe. And I told you guys, if you saw the last episode of Saturday Night Locals 85, first video 2024, we're playing Speed Cash. Obviously, we put against Rescue Ace, and the camera angle was a little less than optimal. I did say it would be better in this match, and it does get better. Probably maybe a little bit around the halfway point, so please just bear with me. This is the last round. The camera angle is a little funky, so I do get to go first. One die roll again. The dice are treating me very well. Start with Planet. Go ahead and secure the good old Unicorn. Once I see no Droll and Lockbird, I'm like, all right, we're in there. We can go ahead and at least try to secure Birth, and even if we did get hit with, Droll, we could still at least establish Baron. Have Econ Imperm set. Not the worst, right? Not the worst. And I know Droll is like one of the biggest banes of this deck's existence. Hence why I don't really like playing the pure version of Speedroid, especially if you play like Win the Wind Channel or you're just asking to get FTK'd by Droll. I just find that the Kashtira build obviously still gets hurt by Droll, but it's still able to establish things under Baron very easy. You know, Fenrir, heck of a card. That plus Baron on very simplified boards. You know, it definitely plays through Droll, or at least sometimes can do more under Droll than you can in pure builds. Like, you know, go ahead and win pitch Duke, search Terror Top, get Drolled on Resolution. Okay, you don't have a play, right? And yeah, this is not a discussion on why you shouldn't play Win, but yeah, whatever. So I decide to extend a little bit further here. I go ahead and bring back the Unicorn with the Birth. I special summon out Car Turbo, locking me into using wind effects. I try to go for the rubber band shooter play, and my opponent does Ash, I believe, the effect of a rubber band shooter. So I go ahead and use Duke and bring out the Car Turbo here, and I go for a link option. I did not use the rubber band shooter's other effect. I did not use Tekatomborg's effect, so I can still summon non-winds. I can just only activate wind effects, so it doesn't stop me from summoning SP Little Knight here. I was thinking about going for Doom Eagle because I kind of had a hunch of what my opponent might be playing. They usually play something along the lines of either Branded or Dragon Link. So I was like, you know, maybe I should go for that. But like also just ending on SP is... And here I am fixing the camera a little bit. There we go. I told you guys I wasn't crazy. So go for the SP. You know, I figured you can't go wrong with that. So my opponent starts Imseti pitching Happy. And that's literally Engage 2023 edition, so I do negate with Baron. Obviously, you know, the only Omni negate that I have, I want to use it sparingly. Sometimes using it on the first thing feels incorrect, but I feel like in a situation like this where it is, you know, Imseti trying to grab the King Sarcophagus, getting a draw, getting 2 free bodies on field just because, not something I was really interested in. Now, I guess you could maybe argue I let him grab King Sarcophagus, then he activates it, then I negate the activation with Baron, right? Maybe that's a play. So here my opponent normal summons the Seifert, activates the effect, or no, Chaos Space, yeah, wasn't looking up. Activates Chaos Space, pitching Starleash Seifert. Obviously, don't have an interaction for that, so it just has to go ahead and resolve. I'm gonna go ahead and search out the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. And gonna go ahead and banish the Seifert to special summon Collapse Serpent. Now, I did think about being super heads up there, you know, and maybe econing, taking that and put him on, have any other extender. And maybe there's a world where that actually works. Maybe. Right? Maybe there's, I don't know. If you're in my shoes, do you take that risk against Dragon Link? They haven't used their normal summon yet, so still potentially has a way to maybe get into something. Hard to tell. But Striker Dragon, I believe, didn't actually add Boot Sector launch. I think he just ended up using the effect of Black Dragon to search out the White Dragon Wimberster, and now it's going to go ahead and use the effect of Chaos Space to put back the Black Dragon to draw 1. So now when they link off here, they can chain block again with whatever effect to go ahead and search out the Black Dragon off the White Dragon. They go for SP Little Knight. And I believe it is Chainlink 1 SP, Chainlink 2 White Dragon. And I think Yeah, they're going to target the set, which is just enemy controller. Which at this point, like, it's definitely too late to even consider using it. There's no reason for me to chain the econ here, because obviously you have nothing to turn to defense. And of course, if I try to take something, I have to tribute one of my own monsters. So it's either the SP or the Baron. It's probably going to be the Baron. And that tributes for cost, so it's not like I can just, like, chain SP in response to... Yeah, no, it's just... There's no world where we use econ here to tribute take, so... I think I just let it get banished. Not that I think. I know I let it get banished. Thought about maybe chaining the Imperm, but then again, of course, you could just chain SP to that and try to dodge it. So, yeah, just let that resolve. That's fine. We lose the econ. You know, like I said, I think maybe the time to use it could have been potentially on the summon of Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, which he just added back to hand, of course, off of the Wyvern Burster. And only having 2 interruptions here left as he activates Magnamut in hand, which I say, you know what, that's fine. I don't really have any responses to that. And then, of course, he's going to activate the effect on summon. Now, I should have probably used SP here, because now it's to the point where he can just go battle phase to run over the SP, and it's just completely out of circulation. This is one thing I always talk about. Like, I feel like I'm very bad at using SP Little Knight, because I feel like I always give my opponent the opportunity to be able to get something on board, and I haven't used the effect yet, and they can just go battle phase and run it over, which I guess is also still fine on its own, because you're just forcing your opponent to use their battle phase early, which means you get another turn guaranteed, right? So that has its own benefit. Now my opponent is going to activate the King's Sarcophagus, which is just fantastic, still finding a way to that card, despite me using my Baron Negate on the Imseti. They're going to bring back both Imseti and Happy, and then they're just going to go into the battle phase here. And I'm trying to calculate how much attack my monsters are gaining. There is Wind, Dark. Yeah, Wind and Dark on the field. So everything I have is gaining 200 attack. So Baron is at 3,200, which my opponent kind of overlooked. They thought they could just swing over Baron here, but they can't because it's at 32. Imseti's only at 3k. So that's good, right? Keeping the Baron, even though its negate is, you know, exhausted at this point. And it's also where, like I said, maybe I wish I would have just used the SP on the Magnamut, so I'd keep that going into the next turn, right? End phase, they'd both come back. Magnamut's not really going to do anything on his side of the field. It's not really like an interruption per se. And I have an Imperm that I haven't used yet, which honestly, I'm glad I held, because my opponent goes into the Typhon here, and that, you know what, I was gonna say the Typhon is kind of a big pain here, but it's actually not. Like, Typhon, I think in the grand scheme of things is actually really bad against the Speedroid Kashtira deck, because everything you want to summon or usually go into has 3k less, or, you know, 3k less attack, which means you're not under the skill drain effect, right? So it's not really that big of a deal. Like, him summoning Typhon here, I pretty much just don't care about. Sure, he bounces the Baron back, but, you know, it is what it is. Now my field is just open for any Kashtira plays that I might happen to draw into. Now, unfortunately, I don't have Fenrir in circulation, so it's not that big of a deal, but I do draw the Tetherwolf for a turn, which is an absolutely crazy top deck at this point. Otherwise, I'd be in a pretty rough spot, definitely wishing I had used SP on the Magnamut, because at least I'd have a body coming back. And right now, I think I am just going through a lot of different lines in my head, thinking, okay, I've got to worry about SP Little Knight. I've got to worry about Typhon floodgating me, even though in reality I don't actually, because it's as simple as just getting into Rubber Band Shooter, which I definitely can do with the cards available, and getting into Clearwing Fast Dragon and just turning it off, right? And there should be a way back into Baron as well. But I've also got to keep in mind here that, you know, Happy is not just a vanilla, right? It does have an effect, a pretty damn good one at that, which basically states anytime, I think if a card you control leaves the field, you just get to add back 2 cards that are banished in your graveyard. And he has Ash Blossom in his graveyard. So I thought to myself right here, if I go battle phase to clear the SP early like I kind of want to, that's going to trigger Happy to add back. And of course he's going to add back Ash, and if he adds back Ash, my Rubber Band Shooter play gets stopped. So I was like completely changing my thought process here, saying to myself, you know what, I actually can't run over the SP here. I've got to actually get rid of something else. Like, I've got to get rid of the Happy in the battle phase. Like, that has to be what happens. And I also didn't actually have to use my battle phase here as early as I did. That was another miscalculation. I think in my head I just couldn't think things through far enough without things just turn into TV static as they do sometimes, you know, under pressure. Even though it is locals, it just happens to me. I don't know how else to describe it. Get the pressure, get the anxiety. Thinking, okay, I just got to keep it simple. Let's just go battle phase now. Let's attack over. And I also didn't use Unicorn Effect because, you know, why would I, right? Obviously, that's sarcasm. I definitely just clearly forgot. Main phase 2 rolls around. I normal summon Tetherwolf. Activate its effect. Mandatory effect to summon a Mecha Phantom Beast token at level 3. Now cannot be targeted, or not, well, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects while the token is up. And it doesn't use the SP Little Knight there. And you can see right now, I still did not have to use my battle phase, right? Happy being on board does not prevent me from doing anything that I'm doing. Even going into Dracosac, right? Still completely fine. Typhon is not stopping me from using Dracosac, especially since it's at just 2,600. Even if it's gaining the 200, it's at 28. So we're still free to use Dracosac. Now he uses the SP Little Knight to target the Dracosac, which honestly I could have just let go through because all I need are the tokens. So this is also maybe another overreaction on my part. But him getting SP Little Knight in circulation, right, that's just coming back in the end phase, right? Because once it's banished, you can't do anything about it. And then it's just coming back. So that's just kind of rough, right? So I think Impermeate there's definitely not the worst thing, but, you know, maybe it wasn't necessary. And it still allows me to keep a token on field for Rubber Band Shooter. And you're also going to see why, again, using that battle phase so early was as problematic as it was. Because I still have a Typhon to get rid of. I still have an SP Little Knight to get rid of. And it's just not helping my case at this point. So I go ahead and use Rubber Band Shooter, banishing Wind Pegasus, add Ignister, revealing both Dendaiko Duke and Fukimadoshi Piper. I like doing this line if I have a token on field already. And, you know, I've already got, like, Car Turbo in graveyard. So I kind of like the setup as is. So I go ahead and use Duke to bring out the Car Turbo. And then I use my additional normal here on Piper. And this is also another kind of oversight on my behalf. I probably shouldn't have banished Wind Pegasus. I probably should have banished maybe Clearwing Fast Dragon. Maybe there's a world where doing that kind of makes sense. As I grab a Reveal 3 off of the Piper. Doing Raysoth, revealing the Unicorn, sorry. And the Prosperity. And I go ahead and grab the Unicorn, not the Unicorn, the Raysoth, because I'm not locked into, I'm only locked into Synchros right now in the extra deck. You know, I'm not under Tekatomborg, I'm not under Car Turbo. But I guess, you know, hindsight looking back, it was fine to banish the Wind Pegasus. Only reason I thought about going for the Wind Pegasus was because, like, I could, like, Synchro the Piper and the token into Wind Pegasus, pop the Sarcophagus, and then Synchro 10 into Baron, right? And I'm just pulling up the translation here for my opponent as I use the effect of Clearing Fast Dragon to negate and zero out the Typhon, which is only at 2,500 attack. Even with the attack boost, it's sitting at, I think, 27. And then I play a new planet over top of the other one. That's going to go ahead and allow me to search for a cache. I grab Scareclaw Kashtira here just because that's a nice free level 7 extender at this point. Again, I'm not locked into activating wind effects. I'm not locked into special summoning winds. I'm only locked into synchros in the extra deck via Rubber Band Shooter. So I special summon that out by banishing the Unicorn, and then I synchro 10 into Baron here. Now, you can pretty much easily see that I did not have to go into the battle phase as early as I did. I was so caught up in getting rid of the SP in the battle phase, and then I figured out, I was like, oh wait, Happy has an effect. It can add back cards that stops Rubber Band Shooter, and I just kind of changed the whole course of pretty much everything. So I just go Baron effect, blow up the Typhon, just because I feel like I had to get rid of that. Although maybe I honestly didn't. You know, maybe there's a world where I didn't have to do that. But my opponent is going to go ahead and Druid Swarm here in the end phase, banishing my SP Little Knight. And yeah, we just pass on that. I don't really think there's anything else that I could have done there. Ending on Fast Dragon and Baron. I could have pretty much cleared the entire field, right? Had I not used the battle phase, you know, I could have just like zeroed out the Typhon. Baron pops the Happy. Battle phase. Well, I could battle phase over the Happy, over the SP. And yeah, pretty much don't give him an opportunity to do anything, especially since I have Imperm for the SP Little Knight. Yeah, so would have left him with pretty much nothing. But now he's going to synchro into Chaos Angel, which is something I always forget about. That you don't need a tuner for, which is like always throws me off. Luckily, he made it with 2 darks. Not a dark and a light, but he gets to use the effect on summon to banish, and he has Druid Swarm, of course. So going for the Fast Dragon and the Baron here with both of those, it's going to force out both of my interruptions. So I have to go, because obviously, of course, he chain blocked the Chaos Angel with the Druid Swarm. So Chainlink 1, Chaos Angel, Chainlink 2, Druid. I go Chainlink 3, Baron, negating the Druid. Chainlink 4, clearing Fast Dragon, targeting the Chaos Angel to zero it out and negate its effects. And luckily for me, my opponent did not choose to chain SP Little Knight here because I literally don't have any more forms of interaction at this point. So pretty much missed his opportunity to do so. But what happens next will surprise you. Maybe it won't. But my opponent seemingly doesn't really have much else to do. You know, with the cards that they have on field, you know, they're looking through extra deck. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we're in the clear here. But my opponent has Triple Tactics Talent, and I know you guys can't see it, but you can see it hitting the grave there. And they choose to draw 2, and they draw absolutely insane. I believe the draws were the Bistio Lubellion and the Creation Resonator, I think is the name. It's like a newer card. I actually have to like pull that up on my phone really quickly because I'm not sure if it is Creation Resonator or if it has a different name. Yeah, Creation Resonator. Let's see. It's not Creation Resonator. It's some Resonator. I'm gonna find it. Resonator. Let's see. I know it's a brand new one, and it's just really, really good. Vision Resonator. It's got to be Vision Resonator. Yeah. If a level 5 or higher dark monsters on the field, you can special this card from your hand. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a spell trap that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend. So he gets the Crimson Gaia here, which I think I've only seen once or twice testing on stream. I just know the card's a decent card. And now he synchros for Baron, and I'm just like, you know what? Things aren't looking too good for me here. And, yeah. Talk about the heart of the cards. Talk about drawing, like, the best 2 things he possibly could have drawn there. Right exactly when he needed them. Last card in hand. Triple Tactics Talents to draw 2. Now, again, had I properly, you know, played the turn out, if we go back and think about this while my opponent continues to just combo on me. If we go back and think about this, if I don't early battle phase, and I get to the field that I have right now, I can even car turbo to boost everything by 800. Well, after I use Clear Wing on the Typhon. So make it 0, then boost everything by 800. Battle phase, get over the Happy, get over the SP, get over the Typhon because it'd be at 0, so Rubber Band Shooter can get over it. And the Magnamut, I think, would still unfortunately be on the field unless I could Baron pop that, leaving him with pretty much nothing. I think maybe that would have been it right there, because I didn't use the Baron pop on anything else. And again, now just completely clearing the field here in the battle phase. He's got Dispotter, he's got Chaos Angel, he's got Baron, he's got SP. There is just no way that I am winning this game at this point. And just remembering here that with the life points, that everything is not at the attack points that they are currently, because again, Pressured Planet does have that attack modification stat. And luckily, Chaos Angel being at 0 kind of saved me here. Otherwise, that definitely would have been game. But at least he cannot attack in for that, and he just passes. I draw Fenrir for turn, which is, you know, pretty damn good draw, right? Especially with Birth in play. I special summon the Fenrir, and I'm like, you know, I can go battle phase here, but I'm still staring down a Baron and a Dispotter, and I'm pretty sure I need to read Chaos Angel really quickly. Dark monster control will not be destroyed by battle. So yeah, I can't even run over the SP Little Knight. Because of the Chaos Angel's continuous-like effect. And my opponent doesn't remember that, I guess. I literally just looked that up because I was like, he only summoned it with Darks, but yeah, so this is just another example of how this doesn't matter at all. I do end up scooping. I go ahead and use its effect in main phase 2, and obviously my opponent is going to negate it, and yeah, I maybe could have, like, used Birth to bring back Scareclaw, but there's no way he lets that go through, especially with Dispotter on field. There's just no way. So we scoop it up. Definitely misplayed, for sure. But, you know, that's why we do these videos. We talk them over. You know, I try to give the in-game thought process and then try to correct with the more... like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, taking a step back and analyzing it kind of approach from a non-tournament situation, right? Kind of a bird's eye view. So either way, game 2 underway here. Sided in Judgment, sided in Anti-Spell, sided in Triple Tactics Talent. I only side in 1. Side deck needs a little work. I think I am going to take the One of Goes and match out, potentially. But yeah. We're going to go ahead and special summon out Unicorn, activate Unicorn effect. I'm expecting Droll and Lockbird. I always expect Droll and Lockbird. This is something you got to, like, expect your opponent to have. You don't want to be like, oh, you know, please don't have it. Just expect them to have it. Just, the sooner you get real with yourself, the better the games will go. Because if you're always used to playing under Droll, the moment you don't get Drolled, things feel pretty easy mode, right? So we're going to go ahead and synchro into Baron, third summon Baron, and my opponent is going to Bell. They're going to Bell the Birth, which kind of shook me to my core. Right? I was like, damn, wasn't expecting that. Like, who the hell bells a Birth? Right? Probably could have got more value about belling Dendendaiko Duke, honestly. But what does he know about my deck, right? So we go ahead and special summon Tekatomborg. Going to use its effect here to go ahead and special summon out the Fuki Madoshi Piper. Not really sure why I wanted to commit to one extra reveal here. Ends up being Prosby, which I was like, hey, that's pretty damn good. So we go ahead and use the Prosby, which I do banish the Draco Sack, which sometimes I find that I regret doing because, you know, sometimes if you get into a cash engine or like cash play and you need to get to Speedroid cards, if you don't have the Draco Sack, you don't have a way to do that. So not really sure what I'm digging here for. Maybe, like, I don't know, like I've already normal summoned, so like taking a Kashira monster doesn't really get me anywhere. I can't summon Scareclaw because I'm under Tekatomborg. So what did I just take there? Car Turbo? Spec Car Turbo. Curious to see what I go into here. Well, I guess I have a rubber band shooter line. For some reason, I thought I was under Droll. But we do have a rubber band shooter play. So I do decide to banish a 7. And notice this time I did not banish the Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Why? Because that card absolutely rips in this matchup. So yeah, I guess it was made clear now why I digged 60 for Prosby, trying to find some sort of extender to get into rubber band shooter. And Car Turbo was the way there. And yeah, so we get the double yo-yo, which is huge. And the only thing I regret doing, well, I guess it doesn't even matter because I had to use the Piper to try to keep playing. And say, oh, imagine if I just didn't use Piper there, I could have a much bigger Excavate. But, you know, I had to Piper to get into the Prosby in the first place. So, we take those. Because it could have been like Prosby, it could have been Car Turbo, right? Any one of those could have got me there potentially. And we synchro into Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Like I said, this card is absolutely nuts in this particular matchup, just because it says anytime your opponent activates, when your opponent activates a level 5 or higher monster on the field, you can negate and destroy it. Negate the activation, and just if you do destroy it. And then it has another effect that says when your opponent activates a monster effect, yeah, when a monster effect is activated that targets one level 5 or higher monster on the field and no other cards, you can negate the activation to destroy that. And then if it destroys anything with either of those effects, it gains the attack of the monster that it destroyed. And my opponent also never said draw phase, standby phase. I'm kind of making excuses. I was trying to read him the effect, and he just ended up going right to main phase without saying anything and just pitching Lubellion. And I had the anti-spell, which had I not just been distracted by that, I would have just flipped it in the draw phase, but luckily it didn't matter there. Definitely could have. But yeah, don't do what I do. I should have been like, yeah, in draw phase, but I was preoccupied with reading the fact, look, oh, this is why I use English cards. Shut up, okay? Let me enjoy my foreign shiny cards. Either way, we're going to flip up the anti-spell. My opponent's going to add the Bystial Magnamut off the Bystial Lubellion. I'm like, that's completely fine. You can summon your Magnamut if you dare. It's just going to get eaten up by the Clearwing. And he decides to summon the Magnamut, activates the effect. I'm like, alright. Clearing effect, negate, destroy, gain 2,500 attack, putting it to 5,000. Pretty beefy monster. If you, he's like, oh, it negates and destroy. And I'm like, I literally just read you the card. But yeah, either way, we're going to go into game 3. And my opponent, of course, is going to opt to go first. You have Terror Top, Ash, Prosperity, Unicorn, and Car Turbo. Hand looking kind of stacked. Hoping I would see D-Shifter or Droll and Lockbird. 6 really strong cards against this particular matchup. Didn't see a single one. It is what it is. And my opponent normal summons the Starly Safer. And I'm like, you know what? Why the hell don't I just Ash this? Because you better have an extender. And he didn't. And I draw Pancratop as the 6th. Pretty damn good 6th, in case he had a way to play after that. But in my head, I was like, what am I going to Ash, right? What do I Ash against this particular deck? Because I know, like, Chaos Space is normally a good Ash, but that's a 1-of, right? So the odds of him seeing that, probably pretty low. But I was like, I remembered something vaguely in my head. I was like, you know, Ashing on Seifert, and I could be wrong. I'm like, this could be just a really good play here. So I just sent it, essentially, is what I did. So I think here I was debating on whether to use the Unicorn effect first, or if I should Prosperity first, because I was kind of afraid of Droll and Lockbird. So I wanted to Prosperity first before searching for Birth. Ash, Raysoth, Fenrir, Bell. Oh, I said it in Bells too. And Terror Top and Fenrir. Obviously, I don't need the Terror Top. I already have one in hand. I probably should be taking Raysoth here. But I guess taking Fenrir kind of plays less into Droll. But am I taking the Ash here, though? That's the real question. I'm taking the Ash. That's bold and brash. Again, I think it was all just a countermeasure to try to not lose super hard to Droll. I think that's what it was. Oh, no, my opponent had Skill Drain. That's what it was. You guys can't see it. Yeah, okay. That's why I took... Okay. Also, what I should mention is that I was trying to dig for Tekka Tomborg there too, because if I did have Tekka Tomborg, I could have tagged out for the Piper, which Tekka Tomborg attributes for cost, so it would dodge skill drain. Bringing out Piper, then I could Synchro 7 into Wind Pegasus, make the Dracosack, tribute that for cost, and then try to keep playing. Right, that's kind of what I was doing. And grabbing the Ash kind of gave me an extra layer of security, right? I need some form of interruption. If I can't put one up on field, I need to grab a hand trap off the Prosperity too, so you can kind of get the reason why I did that. Yeah, for some reason I was like, wait, why am I playing this out the way I am? That's right, skill drain. Completely forgot about that. The one Floodgate they decided to leave at 3, I guess Anti-Spell 2, which is kind of wild, but I digress. So my opponent is, you know, kind of thinking through all their options here. You know, I did put him down a decent chunk. I mean, I did Prosperity first, so they took half damage. So they're at 45-50. I draw a Duke for turn. I'm looking at the cards I have in field. My opponent set a monster. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and normal summon this Duke. I'm going to use Card Turbo's effect Engrave to make all winds I control gain 800 attack until the end of the turn. And if it's an Ash he has set, which has 1800 defense, right? Because, you know, did I overthink this? Probably. Unicorn is at 33 right now, and Duke is at 18. That's 43. That is 48. Yeah. So I didn't even... For some reason, I thought I had to attack with Duke first to guarantee game. But I didn't. Because I would have had game with just attacking with Unicorn and Duke anyways, because all boosted by 800. So, yeah, little... And it was a Droll set, so I was like thinking if Ash had 800 defense, you know, I'd just crash with it, or, well, match, stalemate, whatever, but I digress. We take the dub there. Could have been better, but last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our current Divine level channel members who are Pony Start, Cadillacs, Green, Misfit, and HH Cyber. Thank you guys so much for your extremely kind and very generous support of the channel.